Alright, so today I want to take a look at some brand new baby Ball Python hatchlings fresh out of the incubator. And these are the eggs that we cut just a couple days ago. All the hatchlings should be completely out of the egg. And this was actually a cross between my bamboo calico male crossed to my lesser female. We got some pretty interesting results on this. And of course everybody's wanting just the straight bamboos like Bobby here, just a single gene bamboo. And believe it or not, on that whole clutch we didn't hit a single gene bamboo, but we did hit a bamboo calico, which is definitely one of my favorites. The calico essentially brings a lot of white up the side of the snake. And of course Bobby is in a really deep shed here. He's kind of freaking out. I pulled him out of his tub. He's like probably in the deepest shed I've ever seen. Look at how gray his eyes are. Super gray eyes on this guy, which is pretty amazing. It's not very often I actually catch him in a super blue deep shed. So what I want to do is I want to pull those hatchlings out of the incubator. We'll take a close look at them. We'll give them names. We'll pull some names out of the jars, and then we'll put them up in the hatchling rack. All right, so I'm actually going to start with a different box of eggs. So I guess we'll do two boxes. So I have this one that's kind of floating around. It's not even worth like doing a whole video on it. It was just one egg that hatched on this one. So this was a cross between my banana inchy clown crossed with my clown, and there was only one good egg and it hatched, and it should be out. It should be ready to go up in the hatchling rack. So take a look at this one. This guy's in a deep shed. Alright, so take a look at this. Got a little clown here. My very first visual clown. Is that cool or what? So, I don't know. Some people are saying that they thought for sure this was an Enchy clown. But I don't know if this is Enchy. I know it's not banana because the banana is really obvious. But usually with the Enchy you have a really reduced pattern. And if you actually look at the pattern on this guy, let's see if we can unwind him here. Let's see. I don't know if this is Enchy or not. Look at the pattern on the side. There's sure a lot of alien heads on there for being Enchy. I don't know. I thought maybe from the head stamp, because sometimes the Enchys have that unique head stamp on there. I'm going to label this one as Enchy with a question mark. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe it's not Enchy on this one. It almost looks a little bit Enchy like towards the back of the tail right here, but I've actually seen that on a lot of clowns, so I don't know. What do you think? You think that's an Enchy? It looks like he's like kind of fired up like he'd bite me or something. Alright, little guy. Here we go. Definitely not as feisty as a reticulated python, but alright, so we need to pick a name for this guy. I have these names in this jar that I got from my viewers. I had viewer recommended names that I got a whole bunch of names a couple of years ago and put them in this jar. I keep using the same names over and over. Alright, so this guy's new name, I'm just gonna say, I think it's just a straight clown. Maybe an Enchy clown, I don't know. I think it's just a straight clown. Alright, this guy's name is Lucky. Alright, so this is what I put him in. I actually have an ARS caging hatchling rack. I use coconut husk. I just mixed up some coconut husk. I've been going through changing all my snakes, all the bedding. Comes with a little 8-ounce deli cup for the water. I actually re-wash these. And it goes right in my rack. It has a little heat spot, like a hot spot, like a little heat panel that goes across all the backs of the tub. So I usually just kind of dig down and let them sit right on the hot spot right there. That's kind of the setup for my hatchlings. Alright, so I print out a label, put it on above each tub. So this name is Lucky. C0522 is the 5th clutch of 2022. I put clown and then in parentheses with the question mark, Enchy. I don't know, let me know if you think that's an Enchy or not. I'm kind of leaning towards I don't think it is. It's my first visual clown and I'm not really familiar with the Enchy clowns, but to me it doesn't look like Enchy. Alright, so here's the box we were after. This is my Calico Bamboo crossed with my lesser. So my Calico Bamboo, I'm pretty sure that one's like 50% Het Desert Ghost. My lesser, I think it's Het Ghost on my lesser. So these could be possibles here. Ooh, what's going on here? Ooh, let me get all these eggshells out. I thought I had one squashed in the eggshell. That's kind of my biggest fear, is that they'll have one in the eggshell and then they'll all pile up on the eggshell and suffocate one that's still in the egg. That's kind of my, I think I had that happen one year, so I'm always kind of freaked out about it. Oh, this is interesting. I got like a little blob in there. Like it was almost like a twin or something that partially developed. Alright, wow, take a look at these. Pretty awesome. Kind of crazy hatchlings right there, all piled up on top of each other. Got that one paradox. I want to take a look at that one first right here. So I was cutting these eggs open and someone actually contacted me about this one and they bought it. I usually don't sell them this early because you know, sometimes if they're a little bit stubborn as far as feeding, if you have to assist feed or something like that, it can get really sometimes it can get kind of dragged out a little bit. But Gray Family Snakes actually bought this one and they named it Thor, which is pretty cool. So take a look at this one here. I'll zoom you in a little bit. It has a little paradox right there that we didn't see in the egg. That's pretty cool. So this is a bamboo lesser, possible calico, but you can't see the calico in there. I don't think you can see it even with the paradox. Kind of the interesting thing is it does kind of look like it has blue eyes. Actually, let's compare it to this one. Look at how small this one is. This one's super small. I'm thinking this one was maybe a twin and there's like a blob in the egg there because it's so small and the other twin just didn't develop. But if you look at the eyes, I'd say the eyes are pretty much identical. It's hard to tell now because they're going into a shed. But I think this one right here does have the blue eyes of the blue-eyed Lucy. Look at the nose. Got a little color right on the nose. Kind of funny right there. Interesting little paradox on the head. Usually they're completely white. I was actually looking over on MorphMark at the lesser bamboos. There wasn't one single lesser bamboo over there that had any paradoxing at all. So this is a really interesting snake. And its name is Thor. Another reason I don't like to sell them out before they come out of the egg is because yeah, you want to look for kinks. They already paid for the snakes. You definitely don't want any genetic defects. Looks like it's good. No kinks. You always want to look at the navel. Belly button looks good. Nice and clean. You got just a little slot right there. That's normal. Looking good. So it'll probably take me, I don't know, 3 to 4 weeks at least before this thing goes on. It takes usually a week to shed, and then at least a couple weeks to get on the mouse hoppers, and then I can finally try to transition over to frozen thawed before I ship it out. But the hard thing is, you know, if I hatch like 100 snakes and, you know, everyone's asking me every week, hey, is my snake ready yet? It gets a little overwhelming with the emails. That's another reason I don't kind of sell them early. But this one, I'll make an exception. This one is pretty awesome. All right, so I want to make a label on this guy and throw him up in the hatchling rack. Awesome snake. All right, let's see what else we have in here. Whoa, we got one coming out. Alright, I guess I'll take this one since he's ready to come out. This is, do you know what this is? Can you ID this one? This is a lesser, just a straight lesser. Actually, the calico lessers are pretty cool. I think I have a calico lesser in there, with the addition of calico, but this is just a straight lesser here. And usually after the first shed, they get really super bright, and then kind of as they age and mature, they kind of lose some of their brightness as they age, but it's not too bad compared to some. So they're pretty awesome. And this is 50% het ghost. If this one actually did actually get the het ghost, it will be a lot brighter than your typical lesser too. So let's take a look at this guy. Looking good. I always check for kinks or anything. Looking good. These are, let me tell you, I've been working with my retics all week. You're trying to, you know, it's funny with those retics because they're really super bitey. I hatched out like 40 super dwarf articulated pythons, and you actually reach in the tub and they always try to bite you right away. And then, you know, I'm trying to tame them down. So like I slowly grab them and then I hold them for like half an hour to really calm them down. It's like a painful process going through taming down all those retics. And with ball pythons, it's so much easier. You just grab them and you don't have to worry about getting bit at all. It's like a completely different game with these ball pythons. You don't have to build trust. They're like so nice to work with. Compared to, you know, once those retics kind of tame down, they're really super friendly and they're really fun, and they're super long too. They're like twice as long as a, I'm actually going to do a video on and show you one of those articulated pythons here in one of my upcoming videos. But yeah, it's a completely different game with these ball pythons. So this guy is looking pretty good. It's interesting, he has kind of a gap right here where there has like no color. That's like the biggest gap I've ever seen on a lesser. We'll look at the navel area, make sure we're okay down there. One year I had a snake with a big round stoppage right in the navel, and I actually had to bring it to the vet. The vet removed it and then put stitches in there, which is kind of crazy. Alright, so we're going to get a name on this from the jar here. Let's see what we can pick for a name. Alright, this guy's name is Bender. Alright, let's pull another one out of the box here. I really want to take a look at this bamboo. Take a look at this. Pretty nice, pretty nice. So this is actually a bamboo calico. It's kind of funny how the bamboo calicos change over time. So they normally start out looking almost like a regular bamboo. You can't really tell that it's really high white on the side. All this on the side will actually turn really super bright white, like a really stark, almost like a pied white on the side. And the start is almost looking just like a bamboo, almost just like a bamboo. It's kind of hard to tell. But you'll notice with your bamboos, a lot of times you actually have like little heart-shaped patterns on the side with your straight bamboos, and then with your calico bamboos it'll be kind of wiped out like this. But as they age and mature, it brings in more and more white. And it seems like they continue to get more white the older they get. So it's kind of interesting. I think they pretty much change during their whole life, it seems like. The older they get, I think the more impressive they get with age, which is pretty awesome. Let's take a look at this guy. No problem with the navel. Looks nice and straight as far as I can see. I was actually looking through my retics, and I was replaying one of the videos. I was like, oh yeah, this snake looks nice and straight. And then on the replay, right before when I was editing the video, I was like, hey, that snake has a kink in it. And it had one little tiny kink right by it. You could almost hardly not even tell. And I sold that snake almost for free. So someone actually wanted the retic with the kink in the tail. So, alright, so looking good on this one. So let's pull a name for this calico bamboo. Normally I don't figure out the males and the females until pretty much right before I sell them. It seems like it's easier to probe them if they get a little bit more size to them. Alright, Alright, so here's an interesting name. I don't think I've ever used this name before. This guy's name is Milton. And if you don't like the names, when you buy a snake, you can always change the name. These are just, you know, recommended names. When you get the snake, you get the snake with a name. Alright, so let's get another snake here from the box of goodies. So one that I actually want to see is this one right here. So take a look at this. These are really subtle differences right at the beginning. Wait a minute. I thought for sure this one, I think for sure this one is a calico, which is pretty close to a normal. So take a look at this normal. This is just a straight normal right here. Let me zoom up a little bit. So this is a straight normal right here. And this is a calico. As a hatchlings, they almost look exactly the same, but you can definitely tell in the calico, usually with the calico, you'll have more of a coppery color. And it usually, when they're young, it's really hard to tell that it's actually in there. But as they age and mature a little bit, you'll actually see it like right in here. You see a little bit of coppery color compared to just a straight normal. Really, it almost takes a keen eye. When I first started hatching these, I was like, yeah, I was actually labeling them as normals. And then after about a month, you know, after about 3 weeks, you know, once you start seeing them change, they shed out a little bit and they start changing, you can definitely tell the difference between the calico and the normal. And then this calico is kind of interesting too. And you'll notice in the normals, there's a lot of these like Roswell gray alien heads. And then a lot of times they're completely wiped out or reduced in the calico. So you can see they're kind of wiped out a little bit. I'd say it kind of takes a keen eye. This is definitely a calico right here. And it's so hard to tell as hatchlings on some of these. Some of them are really super hard to tell, like the difference between a bamboo and a bamboo pastel. You can't really tell until they're like 2 months old, and then the pastel really starts turning super yellow and you end up with a really yellowish bamboo, which is really interesting. But yeah, this guy's looking good. Just a straight calico. Let's see. I always like to check the navel area. Looks good. Like usually there's just like a almost invisible slit right in there where the navel is. Looking good. All right, so let's pull a name for this calico here. All right, let's see. Well, this is kind of interesting. This guy's name is Norma. Norma is almost looking like a normal, but not quite a normal. It is Norma. That's a good name for this one. Alright, we're down to 2 more snakes. I'm going to take a look at this little guy. Look at this guy. This is a little tiny blue-eyed leucistic. Look at how small this little baby is. Super tiny. Definitely a twin. I don't know what happened to that other twin in the egg. So this is a bamboo lesser. So both the bamboo and the lesser are both in the blue-eyed leucistic complex. So when you have both genes in the same snake, then you get an all-white snake. So this guy has a little bit of umbilical cord right there. See that right there? Looks fine. Just a little mass on the umbilical cord. We'll just have to keep an eye on it. Usually they just dry up and fall off, so it's not really an issue. You just kind of have to keep an eye on it. Look at how dry and wrinkly this guy is. Super dry and wrinkly. That's pretty wild. Looks like he's pretty healthy. No kinks. Let's see here. Let's see. Uh-oh. This guy might have a kink. Oh no. I think he does have a kink. Just a tiny little one right in his neck. You see that? Right there, like a little place where he can't quite straighten out there. Alright, so we got another one. That's kind of a weird place for a kink right there. That's pretty unfortunate. So normally with kinks, I sell these at a pretty steep discount. If they're like severely kinked, I'll probably euthanize them, but something small like that, I'll have to see how well it eats with that little kink right there. That's unfortunate. Poor little baby, kinked right on the neck. Bummer. That's like my second kink of the year. One retic and one ball python, which is weird, very weird. Alright, so this poor little guy's name is Cypher. Alright, last snake in this box. Let's take a look at the normal, just a normal ball python. Last one. Alright, this is about as normal as a normal can get. Looks like normal colors. Normal pattern. Hopefully this one's not kinked. I always check for kinks. Looking good, looking good. Let's look at the umbilical cord here. If I can see it. Let's see. Looks good. Normal belly pattern. Perfectly normal. So keep in mind, even this normal will be possible het desert ghost. I think it's about 50% het desert ghost. I'm convinced it's 50% het ghost too, because just because of the brightness of that female that produced it. So still some hets floating around. At some point, I don't know, when you just forget about the possible hets and just kind of drop it and not even include it, and just kind of surprise people if they actually hit it with one of their combinations. Of course, depending on what you're doing with your snake, sometimes you may or may not want the visual ghost or desert ghost, depending on what you're doing. I'd say in most cases you might want it, but if you're trying to produce something and not have ghost show up, and then all of a sudden ghost shows up and washes everything out, it might not, you know, in certain situations you might not want it, especially if you're going for you know, something really super dark and then you add ghost and it'll completely change the color of what your intention was trying to hit that combination. But yeah, it's just a normal, pretty much the cheapest pet snake you can get right there. And this guy hasn't bitten me yet, but his name is Fang. Alright, so that's pretty much it for this box. I should have another video coming out pretty soon of the next box, my scaleless, completely scaleless. I actually hit 2 more completely scaleless, and we'll actually open that box and check them out next. Alright, so that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.